Hola, hola a todos. I hope you're doing well. My name is Estrellita, and I'm a first-generation Latina college and postgrad coach that supports first-generation students and graduates through higher education paths, as well as postgrad opportunities. Now today, I did put on a little less makeup because I believe this is our 8th video in honor of Latina Hispanic Heritage Month. Again, in case you didn't know, in honor of this time of month, I am uploading videos every single day for the next 30 days, highlighting higher education trends and postgrad support such as career exploration. Because what better way to support nuestra comunidad than sharing resources, than creating a safe space to ask questions. Now, I'm sure you're not surprised, but I'm very excited for today's video because we are going to be talking about productivity for first-generation college students and graduates. How do you stay productive? How are you productive? But before we get into today's video, I really want to highlight my favorite palette. It's the Tres Luz I Am palette. I love this so much. Becky G. Now, I haven't experimented with all the colors, but I do love the black. Fuerte, Única, Bella, Light y Alma. These are my go-to colors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5. However, I do want to eventually start using these other colors. We'll just get there eventually. Now, I am kind of sad because Tres Luz, they're doing a whole revamp. So I don't know if they're going to be bringing back this palette with these formulas anytime soon. And with all that being said, numero uno on how to be productive as a first-generation college student. Do the easy stuff first. Now, I know there's always a lot of back and forth because there are some people that do advise to do the harder material first so that you get it out of the way. And then there's other people, such as myself, that we prefer doing the easy stuff first so that way we could just ease our way into the workflow. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've done a little of everything, but at the end of the day, what's always worked for me is doing the easy stuff first. And the way that that would look like for me was during the beginning of the week, because you know, Mondays, it can also sometimes feel like, we need extra coffee to get it going. I would start off the beginning of the week working on my assignments from my favorite literature courses. Because I love reading, and I'm not gonna lie, the professors I did have, for the most part, they always picked interesting articles for us to read. Now, once Wednesday evening and Thursday hit, that's when I would dedicate the time to focus more on my statistics homework as well as calculus. Now, I didn't take these around the same time. Honestly, I'm also going to include my biology courses I had taken, but because I knew those classes, my assignments were due on Sunday, I would just do what I can to get it out of the way Wednesday evening, Thursday, and then even Friday morning, so then I could have the rest of Friday to have off. And then if I still needed to finish stuff up, I could pick a time during Saturday. That structure worked for me for a very long time, and it even followed me into entrepreneurship. And once again, with that whole strategy of doing what I like first before finishing off strong with the difficult tasks, it worked for me because I got to do what I wanted to do first, which then would energize me because I would feel a lot happier because I did what I liked and would transition to the more difficult tasks. Ahora, número dos, give yourself early deadlines. Now, what do I mean about this? And I feel like the best example I could give was one of my most recent academic endeavors. So with deadlines, they're very, very popular in higher education. And I believe almost 2 years ago was the time when I applied to PhD programs for the first time. Now, PhD applications, they tend to be very tedious, but that's because PhD programs are very competitive, especially the ones that are fully funded. And because I had that knowledge up front, I knew when applying to PhD programs, I had to strategize to give myself a very good and manageable timeline while still working full time, while still finishing up my last semester of credential program, while running the Cafecitocones social media channels. So with all that being said, my PhD deadlines were primarily in December. So what I did is I jotted down that deadline that I could not miss, December 16th. I'm just throwing a number out there, but you get what I mean. And because I knew ahead of time, I'm talking about months in advance, that these were the programs I wanted to apply to, and I had to work on my application material, such as my statement of purpose, my CV, writing samples. I then jotted down a date that was a week prior to the actual deadline date So that way, mentally, I could have all my PhD materials ready. And if for whatever reason I needed like an extra day or so to just look through everything again before hitting submit, I would have a full week in advance. And that was probably one of the most helpful strategies that I did for myself. And you could totally do this too with your class assignments as well as projects. Ahora número tres, use a calendar, and not just a digital calendar, but also a paper calendar. Because here's the thing, I love tech. I wouldn't say I'm a tech expert, but I love it. It's definitely made my life a lot easier, not only as a student, but as an entrepreneur. But as much as I love tech, there are so many studies that show when a person writes their things by hand, they are more likely able to remember that material, whatever it is, whether it's school material or in this case, writing things down in your planner so you won't forget. I live off of my Google Calendar. I have the app on my phone and it notifies me for meetings I have with clients, all that stuff. And then having my planner, it's like that extra security for me to know what I have coming up. I also wanted to mention this too, when you are using your Google Calendar or paper calendar, let's just use the word planner for now. I want you to pick a time during any day of the week, just a couple hours, one day, where you sit down and you organize yourself. You organize yourself to get ready for the week. Because that's the other thing I want to mention too. You could have these two planners, but unless you put in time for you to sit down and actually look at what you have coming up for deadlines, attending events, applying to scholarships, all those deadlines, it's crucial that you give yourself that time to input it into your calendar, manually or electronically. All right, número cuatro, get exercise. And I mean it, because here's the thing. When I was in my early 20s, community college, exercising, working out felt like second nature to me. I used to do a lot of yoga, jogging. Now at 29 years old, I'm not gonna lie, I do dread a workout. However, I compensate with myself. So I'm just like, okay, Estrella, you don't wanna go to the gym, but you do have to get in over 10,000 steps in the morning before you start your workday. And why? Because usually for the rest of the day, I'm sitting on a chair for 8 to 10 hours. That's just what my job entails. The reason why I don't work out at the end of my workday is because when I'm done with work, I'm done. I just want to rot on my couch, relax, and just think about nothing. Which is why I push myself to do exercise in the morning, power walks. And when I say power walks, I really mean it, because if not, I'm not gonna reach my 10,000 steps. So whatever exercise looks like for you, really consider doing it. It's just really gonna put you in a better mood for the rest of your day. Because let me tell you this, when I wouldn't do a workout before starting the rest of my day, I would be really cranky in here. Not necessarily to others, like, I would be respectful, polite, because it's not anybody else's fault if I'm not feeling at my best, But in here, I just wasn't telling myself the nice things I deserved to hear. Give yourself that exercise. You'll feel so much better and feel more motivated to be productive the rest of the day. And that's what you want. All right, número cinco. Get yourself an accountability partner, whatever that looks like. It could be a classmate, it can be your amiga, amigo, amigi. It could even be a mentor. Now, when I was in school, I did have accountability partners. As I've mentioned, I was a huge fan of group reading, where we would break up the work, especially my first semester of grad school. And then we would come together and just discuss the read. But I do want to use a recent example I've implemented into my life this first year of entrepreneurship. So a few months into me being full-time founder, I invested in a business advisor. Now, I did do my research first and I planned financially, and having her in my life has been a huge game changer. I mean, that's why we're here uploading 30 videos every day in honor of Latina Hispanic Heritage Month. Not only does she consult me in business growth strategy, also helps me revise my grant proposal, as well as put together my partnership decks that I send out to universities, companies for speaking engagements, sponsorships, whatever that looks like. But the main part is this. So in full transparency, I am still recovering from burnout with grant writing. Now, thankfully, back in January, we did win a business grant through Tik Tok and the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. Now, around July, I started applying to other business grants. And because applying to grants is so competitive, I had been submitting so many applications to business grants that are aligned with me. And I've already heard a lot of no's, and I'm still waiting to hear back from more. And I'm just so burnt out because one, it takes so much time to apply to a grant, as I've mentioned. And two, it's also emotionally draining because these grants have committee members that read our submissions, and when they're reading them, they want to feel your passion and see your results to be like, yes, I want to give you the award. However, when you're in my position, who is writing and sending out these grants, after getting a bunch of no's, you start to feel discouraged. And so you may not have the same amount of passion that you did for the first few that you wrote, but you still have so many more to turn in. And what really helped me with my business advisor is that just even a few weeks ago, I sent her a message and I told her, hey, so the deadline for this grant is coming up. I made the short list, but honestly, I'm feeling so burnt out. I don't think I have it in me to submit it, but I know I need to. And I'm also telling you this so that you help me stay accountable. And guess what? She did, and we submitted. And let me just tell you, I'm very proud of how strong that grant submission came out. And with all of that being said, that's where an accountability partner comes into play, because you're gonna have so many moments in your academic trajectory where you're just so burnt out, you don't know how to keep going. And yes, you may take breaks, but you still also have to keep going because the semester is still rolling. And just being able to have that accountability partner, whether again, it's another classmate, an amiga, amigi, mentor, peer mentor, whatever that is for you, stick together so you can just push through. And then once the semester or quarter ends and we're all on break, you can recover. You can do what you gotta do to feel rejuvenated. I'm sure you're not surprised, but I'm having so much fun. And I'm gonna tell you one more bonus tip that, believe it or not, will help you with your productivity. We just wrapped up how having an accountability partner will help you with your productivity, because you will get the things done that you don't want to do because you're feeling so burnt out, but you just gotta push it through a little longer. So with this bonus one, and it's so small, the bonus tip I'm gonna share with you on how to still stay productive despite everything is drinking more water than caffeine. I know it sounds so small, but it's very true. Like, for example, many of you know I was very transparent and shared with all of you in a different video. I used to drink way more caffeine than water. Not good. But eventually I got myself together, specifically when I was in credential program, and started having water with me at all times, especially because I love my 2 cups of coffee. And even though caffeine is here to be that boost, it will still dehydrate you. Now, because I do drink 2 cups of coffee per day, that just means for me personally, I double the amount of water I drink so that it feels more balanced. And your beautiful minds, your sacred cuerpo, todo, they need to be replenished. And also, haven't you noticed that when you drink water, you feel better? There's a reason, so please, take it from me, and that's that I am Cafecito con Estrellita. Just drink more water. You will feel way more better, and when you feel better, you are more inclined to want to do more, aka enhancing your productivity. All right, mi gente, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video and took away a lot. If you haven't already, please make sure you are subscribed, like, comment on this video. It will mean the world, and it'll keep pushing up the Cafecito con Estrellita YouTube channel into the YouTube algorithm so we can keep growing together. Now, if you're interested in more one-on-one and community-based support, please check out the Cafecito con Estrellita membership. I'm going to link it down below. Cuídense y hablamos pronto. Adiós.